about the progress matrix inside Power BI for planning engineer or project control. It's an effective tool, and I am sure that I have covered it at some point in my posts or somewhere else, but I wanted to dive deeply in this subject because there are so many benefits for a progress matrix for planning engineers. It's very comprehensive, and we will cover that in this live. And this live is one of the many videos we make about automation in project control, and what value it can bring to us, right? Wa alaikum assalam, Mahadir. It's good to have you. So I'm gonna get into Power BI right now. And this is our progress matrix, and it is one of the very effective tools in project control. It can come in many shapes, so there is no universal framework or format for this report. That's my preference, but of course you can customize the columns based on your circumstances. We will talk about it in a little bit, but basically we have many areas in our progress report. We have a progress curve and we have other areas as well, but sometimes you want to see the figure itself, the number, the figure. That's what management wants to look at. Sometimes some visualizations like planned versus actual still very effective, but for different purposes. But for if you want to look at the figure, you want to have a progress matrix. You have the list of activities, the early planned percentage, late planned percentage, actual percentage, and variance. That's the status on a specific data date. The formatting is done automatically for me. So if the activity is in delay, it's going to be highlighted in red. If it's ahead, like MAP works, it will be automatically formatted and colored in green. The same formatting will apply here as well in the variance. Because it makes sense, right? Because in my opinion, you see one activity and then you go over the planned values and actual values. And when you reach this area, you want to really recap, or you want to remember, what brought you to this column. So you want to also have another reminder that this activity is in delay, because it does make sense to go back and forth, right, from the first column until the very last column to see if the activity is in delay, especially if you are under pressure and you have a deadline. Sometimes when you are in the middle of the battle, you forgot many details. So the variance formatting has been completed for me as well. Red is in delay, and green is neutral or ahead, right? Because if it's neutral, nothing to worry about, right? And that's the list for the whole project. But let's go over the columns specifically. You can see bars here, yellow bars. These bars represent the strength of the value. So if it's 100%, I'm gonna see a full bar. If it's 40%, I'm gonna see 40% of the bar. But why is that? Isn't it enough to see the figure itself and that's it? No. Because not all delays are treated equal. Okay? Here is one example so you can understand what I'm trying to say here. Plastering is in delay. Practically, it has to be reported and it is in delay, which is correct, right? But let's look at the planned percentage, 0.13%. It means that the activity should have started maybe yesterday or 2 days ago, like it's very recent, and I haven't done any work, 0% actual. So there is a negative variance, but I will not pay close attention to it. I'm gonna, maybe make a side note because I still have some time to absorb and digest the problem and to know how to deal with it. And the most importantly, I have time to catch up and recover the delay if I want to. So I hope it makes sense. On the other hand, slab reinforced concrete, 46% planned and actual 38%. So I have around 8% delay in concrete, which is significant for a major activity like concrete. Okay. But that's my priority right now. If I have, I'm going to deal with all delays, of course, in the project and develop maybe the recovery measures, but it's all priorities, right? Because you have a limited time in a day, you have a limited effort and energy, you have a limited attention, right? So you cannot really do everything in a day, right? So we want to have priorities. In my opinion, you're gonna pay close attention and have this activity as a priority over an activity like plastering. If you have this concept, or if you want to apply this concept on other activities, it doesn't make sense to read off the numbers, right? To keep reading the numbers and figures over and over again. It is not convenient or efficient. So that's why I have a slight visualization, in bars to, give me the indicator that I need for this purpose. So I'm gonna go over maybe the significant bars, maybe 100% to somewhere around 30%. I'm gonna collect all delays in this range, and I'm gonna develop a recovery measure like it's a priority or a primary plan to deal with the delay over an activity like plaster. Okay, so I hope it makes sense. We want to also see the late plant percentage. I have to act quickly if I see a delay against the early planned percentage, but you also wanna see how far or how significant your delay is, because sometimes the delay violates the early planned percentage, but it is still within or prior to the late planned percentage. I know that it will not be critically huge in terms of earned value, not critical path because it's another calculation. But I will know if that's like a disaster, or because if it violates the late planned percentage, it requires a different mindset and a more aggressive approach toward delay recovery. But I'm gonna still consider early planned percentage as my primary indicator, and the variance percentage is calculated based on the early planned percentage as well. That's for the whole project, but it's a good place to start from, but it should not be your only tool. You probably have a similar layout, but remember, we have so much data to deal with. Okay, in project control, we have thousands of activities, tens of attributes, multiple data dates, or regular weekly updates. So much data to deal with. So it's easy to be drowning in the data, and instead we will swim for insights right now. So you can have a better control in your project. Maybe I wanna go for a specific category because maybe I am in ground floor right now. So it doesn't make sense. Overall the concrete is in delay, but that most of your attention should be directed toward the ground floor because this is the area where most of the work is in progress right now. And when I click any area, these indicators will be updated accordingly. So as you can see, I see I prepared instant report with a click of a button for a specific area. We can use combination of filters. So maybe ground floor specifically concrete. So can you see what I'm trying to do here? Like, we can have different filters, and at any point, whenever I want, I can go back to any data date of my choice with a click of a button to recall the information I need. But why is that? Because 99% of planning engineers look at the most recent variants. They will complete their schedule update and they will analyze the variants and report the findings. So they will not really do too much analysis for previous updates, because they think, why would they? And secondly, they don't have the tools. It takes a lot of time to do that in a traditional way. You have to import the XCR files. You have to assign the baseline in each schedule update. And it's going to slow down your system. It's going to take some time to import. So it's a process. And also at the end, when you try to get some findings, you will hope that you did not use the wrong file, because sometimes for a planning engineer it's easy to make mistakes and refer to the wrong file, because sometimes you copy one file or you do some what if scenario, right? Uh, it's it's easier said than done, because if you are too busy and you have so much work, it's really, you will not remember that you have done this exercise, or you will not remember that um, you have developed a what if scenario. So it's easy to make mistakes. So this process is so ineffective. Sometimes, you want to ask yourself, so what was, because right now you can see the variance, for example, for concrete, we have certain amount of delays in a specific area or for the overall project. But you want to see what the status was 3 weeks ago. Like, sometimes it's really common question you can ask yourself as a planning engineer, or sometimes the management or decision makers will ask this question, like, what was the delay 1 month ago? Did we do well? Are we improving? Are we getting closer? Right? Are we closing the gap? Are our recovery measures effective? It's really common to ask these questions. So sometimes you want to go back and forth, to you can go back 1 year, if you want. It's all one model. It doesn't change anything at your work. It's one model. So sometimes also for disruption claims, you want to have this information, because disruptions require more analysis. So sometimes if you have disruption in concrete, for example, or the delay is caused by disruption for any reason, or you are preparing a disruption claim, so sometimes you want to go back maybe 1 year ago or a few months ago and see the review the status back then. So it's useful in many ways, and it's up to you how often you choose to use this visualization. One more thing, this is a demo. It's up to you if you want to follow this format or change it as per your requirements, but you got the idea. You can add some columns if you want. Actual start, budgeted total cost, budgeted labor units, earned value labor units, planned cost. You can do whatever you want. You can add as many columns as you want for your own specific analysis, and it takes seconds to do so, because it's one model. It's a drag and drop, and you will have your layout updated within seconds. And sometimes, or most of, how often does a planning engineer take 2 days to prepare a progress ride like that, like update the progress metrics, and still get some mistakes? All the time. It happens all the time. because you are following the traditional way, and you copy data. Sometimes you refer to the wrong files. Sometimes, when you are busy, you make mistakes, you extract the wrong data, you do not update your Excel formula range. Sometimes it happens. I'm not talking about the accuracy of the results, because it all depends on the input validation, right? Because if you feed the model with inaccurate data, you will get inaccurate results. Of course, it makes sense. We will not talk about it. I'm talking about the accuracy in terms of configurations, the calculations setup. That's my point here. So within seconds, you update the report. And interestingly, you might ask that, how long does it take you to update everything inside Power BI after you complete your schedule update? Whether you are doing it inside Primavera or Microsoft Project or any other scheduling software. The answer is it takes less than 30 seconds. Okay, so for example, I'm gonna go to this data date. It's one date in future. No actual, but I can see the planned on this data date, but of course no actual. And assume that you have just completed the schedule update inside the scheduling software on this data date. It takes 30 seconds to populate all data inside Power BI. So you will see the actual data populated. When you go to progress curve, for example, you will see the actual data populated. It will be updated and populated everywhere, which is amazing. So you don't have to spend 2 days anymore to update your report. You don't have to worry about um, mistakes in your configurations setup, which is a common issue among planning engineers. It's wasting time and it's wasting energy as well. All right. The formatting is flexible as well. You can choose to format the values here. Like, for example, I wanna make maybe a report for myself to highlight the planned percentage that is above 50%, for example. We agree right now, and it makes sense to have priorities, because not all delays are treated equal. So I'm gonna highlight, for example, the planned percentage beyond 50%. You can have a color, like maybe another color that will represent that, but I'm not a big fan, to be honest, of that. I believe, in simple reports, you might feel that the report is fancy, at the beginning, but it is not. If you look at the whole report, you will see I have only few colors. I have the color here for the title because I want to make it stand out. That's one color, red as well, yellow, and the green is repeated here and here as well. I try to reuse the same colors, whenever possible and reasonable. And this color as well, it's so it's like indication, that the green is more like an indication color. Red is for delays. So I have overall 5 colors max. I don't want to go beyond that. I don't like it, and I believe that it is not a good practice either in reporting to show excessive colors and excessive formatting. It's not really, because human brains are respond well to simplicity and or simplified information. Okay, so keep that in mind when you try to um, make a complicated report in terms of the visibility and the formatting. You think it's a professional, but it is not. So try to make it really clear, simple, visible. It's a good practice to do that. Okay, so let's take some of the questions. Hello, Akini. It's good to have you. Hi, Salman. It's good to have you. Hi, Mark. Thank you very much for your kind words, and I appreciate it. Power BI is definitely one of the greatest tools. I believe in data analytics. You can use any data analytics processor that is convenient for you, but I believe Power BI is one of the best because it has many advantages. It's free for the most part, and we all need data analytics in project control or project management. Hello, Ahmed. It's good to have you again with us. Hi, Dhruv. How to add on daily data in this report? Well, it is not so effective to do that because we have structured the model for a planning engineer who is doing schedule updates. If you want to do a schedule update on daily basis, do it, but I don't think it's a common in modern contracts right now. They require maybe weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly, and you have to structure the model in this way because you have data dates and you have the result. Hi, Zubair. Thank you very much. Hello, thank you, Asam. I appreciate it. Hello, Sida. How are you? From Shubham, how can I purchase the PMP course? I do not offer PMP training. We offer project control courses, for planning engineers. If you want to have a look at what we offer, you can go to my website here, smartpmtraining.com. Hi, Ahmed. It's good to have you. Hi, Gibran. Thank you very much. I am glad that you are here with us. Okay, so no more questions. Okay, so I hope you have a better idea about progress metrics right now. We don't have to develop it inside Power BI if you don't want to. You can still use Excel if you want to, but I hope you can see the best practices of progress metrics. Okay, you can develop it in the same way, but we need something like that in our report because it is not enough to always refer to bars and visualizations. Sometimes we need the exact number. Hi, hi, Papi. It's good to have you. Okay, thank you all, and I hope you found it helpful. And bye.